Tired of screwing up, tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Eminent Waste of Time, episode 39. I'm Doug.
And I'm Chad.
And we are one episode away from our podcast being officially middle-aged.
Yep. We're kind of almost ourselves, depending when I'll actually die.
The podcast is one number higher than we are now.
Yes, it is.
So is it going to buy a red sports car and run off with some other podcast that's 15 years younger than it?
No, probably not.
Okay. I just figured that was where that was going.
It will become surly as it gets older. Yell at the younger podcast of the world.
One episode closer to get off my website.
That's how I'm going to be when I get older. I know.
What do you mean when you get older?
I've been grumpier this week, and I don't know why. I've just been grumpy. Leave me alone. I don't care.
So Chad had a bunch of ideas for the podcast, but they all basically were just really grumpy. I hate this and that's stupid type of ideas. So we kind of had to back off of that track and go a little bit different route with this.
It wasn't that bad, but I'm just ready for my vacation. I'm leaving it on vacation here in 2 days, and I'm just ready to go. Not because I want to go on that vacation. I just don't want to deal with anything.
You just won't be here, and that's the plus.
I don't want to deal with work. I don't want to deal with other people and their neediness. I'm just need a vacation.
You need a vacation from me, don't you?
I need a vacation. No.
I'm going on vacation as well. I'm taking off about a day and a half after you, but I'm looking forward to it too. It's been a real just basket case trying to get ready to go. I think I finally got everything sorted out and nailed down, and we've got a race this weekend, so it's kind of a tight schedule for me because you're leaving, what, Friday?
Friday morning, yeah.
Okay, and I am leaving Monday morning because I have to be here Saturday, Sunday for an MWXC race. My folks are going to come down because they're going on vacation with us, which I know some of you are already thinking, if your parents are going, it's not a vacation. But I actually like my parents, so...
Somewhat.
No, of course I do.
You like them when they're 3 hours away.
Hey.
No.
Mom, I know you're listening to this, so just ignore this guy.
No, he does get along great with his parents, and his parents are awesome. So,
But yeah, so they're going to come down. Dad's going to actually come out to the race with me, and then basically I get back Sunday night from the race, about 8 o'clock when I normally do. Try and do a few last-minute things. Pack everything up, make sure everything's ready to go, because then Monday morning we head out. We're going to Tennessee.
Yeah, and you've had a real interesting time trying to get everything around. It's been a fight this week for you.
So Ford, let's talk about front suspensions on the Expeditions. Okay, it's not Ford's fault, but my wife's Expedition is about an 8-year-old truck, and it's in really good shape overall, but it needed a upper ball joint, which they're fairly easy to do on this. However, I decided I'm going to do the lower ball joints as well, because if the uppers are going, the lowers are probably going to as well, and that's where things really, really turn south. And to make a really long story really short, I'm buying complete new lower control arms now because I am cutting the old ones off with a Sawzall, because despite my best efforts with torches, 3-foot-long breaker bars, impact wrenches, penetrating oil, and anything else I could think of, including almost throwing my back out trying to wrench this thing off, the last bolt has not moved at all, not a millimeter.
Yep.
So Sawzall, cutting that sucker loose, new lower control arm. It's $86 with a ball joint in it. I'm done. I am done messing with this truck.
He's over it.
So that's been fun. And, you always plan this stuff for when you have a trip. Oh, I know. Before I go on this trip, I'll do this upgrade. Why do we do that?
I don't know.
Why do we always think that's a great idea?
I don't know.
38 years of experience would tell you, no, you leave everything alone until you get back. And yet, so.
You didn't.
No, I just couldn't be bothered. It's, I can do this. It'll go real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the plan is.
But hey, we get to leave. We get to go do a little bit of a break. In fact, when you hear this podcast, Chad will be in Virginia. I'll be in Tennessee. I guess we just told everybody our houses are completely unguarded if they know where we live. That's okay.
If you really want to mess with like a 200-pound English Mastiff and a brother who carries guns and has them hidden around their property.
This is legitimately a bad place to come just nosing around.
I feel bad for you if you're trying to break in. Seriously.
So we're going to get this one pushed out, and we're actually still planning on doing a podcast. We're going to try and throw one together Monday night after we get back, because I don't get back till late Sunday. And we're going to try and throw one together Monday night and release Tuesday like always. So that's how dedicated we are. We're going to go on a week vacation and not even miss a beat.
Yeah, well, that's the plan anyway.
I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll figure something
We'll come up with something.
We always do.
Yeah.
Babbling senselessly is never a problem.
True story. So I'm just happy to be inside and in the AC right now.
We had a little adventure, speaking of putting new parts on, right before we started recording this.
Yeah. You guys have heard us talk about Spanx Fab a little bit and how they've come on as a sponsor. Well, they got us some arched lower A-arms for my razor, old Acre Shaker, as it's been named.
Ah, yes.
And we also got some new heavy-duty rear lower radius rods. So none of my parts were bent, I'm sure.
Yet.
Yeah,
they were going to be.
Oh, yeah, they would have, yeah. But so I replaced them preemptively to bending them. So I'll be selling those off, I'm sure, if somebody wants a stock set. But
we'll put Eminent Performance stickers on them. That's got to make them at least worth $8 times as much.
It's $8. No, so we just got done with that video, and it's hot. It's like 90 out there, 90 something. I don't know what it is.
Well, and your garage is not air conditioned, and we're doing this with the door closed because otherwise you get traffic noise as cars are driving by and everything else.
Yeah.
So it was toasty.
It was warm, and I'm sweating out there, and I'm kind of fluffy and
pleasantly plump, I believe, is the going term.
Okay, I'll go with that. And yeah, it's just hot and whatever. So I had to change shirts
But we did get a good video made for Spanx Fab that you can, I don't know when I'll get that cut together since I'm leaving on vacation. I would expect it'll be a couple weeks out at this point. But we got an install video done that kind of highlights some of the features, and it's a quick run through. Honestly, if you've ever done these before, there's on the lower A-arms, you got 2 bolts up on the frame and 1 bolt that holds captive against the ball joint. The radius rods on the back, bolt on each end. I mean, it's not
rocket surgery.
It's not rocket surgery to get these things done. So we did a quick video, though, kind of highlighted some of the features and a couple install tips that, just to make sure you don't make your life more difficult than you need to. And we'll get that cranked out here pretty soon.
And there may or may not be a few funny little bloopery bits there at the end for everyone to watch.
Possibly. Well, we deserve to have some fun, too.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for the video coming out here in the reasonably near future anyway. So
actually, knowing me, I'll probably cut them together while I'm out camping, because that's what we're doing when we go down to Tennessee. We're going to be camping outside of Knoxville, kind of Blue Ridge Mountains area.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take my laptop because I take my laptop everywhere, and I'm sure at some point there'll be a day where the kids are off doing something, Jenny's reading a book, and I'll be
bored,
looking for something to do. Which I'm looking forward to being bored, as weird as that sounds. Like, I'm ready to have, I don't have to do something.
Yep.
So I'll probably knock it out then, just because I'm a workaholic.
I'm going to some resort. I don't.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, well.
And you're not taking the Razor.
No, I'm not. I looked. There's no good riding parks within a reasonable driving distance.
I think a resort sounds like a really fun riding park.
I'll get kicked out of there in a hurry.
Please film it if you do.
Look, Chad's trying to jump the 18th green by coming out of the sand trap.
I'm picturing somebody having an outdoor wedding with one of those big white tents, and you're just like barreling through it.
Just a thing screaming, and I'm pitching rooster tails of turf.
If anybody out there is planning on getting married in the near future and would be willing to let us shoot some video doing that and would think it would be hilarious and not detrimental, let us know.
Run that by your to-be wife first, though. Just saying.
Or don't, because that might make the video more fun. But if you're willing to let us do that, we will drive to wherever you are. That would be a blast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's honestly, though, Spanx Fab, I can't say enough about the quality of the parts. I mean, they are definitely much, much more heavy duty than the stock parts that we took off.
Yeah.
I like the fact that there are greasable fittings for a lot of the bushings where you don't have those on the stock ones at all.
Yep.
On those rear radius rods, they're not only a lot thicker, but the Heim joints are just really, really beefy.
Yeah, they're nice FK Heims with Teflon lined races in them, so they're nice and smooth.
They're not going to rattle back there, and
they're just gonna. And the Teflon also works as a nice sweep to clear dirt, and it doesn't let it in as easy. So it's just nice, high-quality parts, heavy-duty. They're just built well. They're great parts, and I'm really looking forward to having them on there. I'm glad they're on. It just gives me a little more peace of mind, because I was always leery of... I wasn't worried about bending them, jumping, or anything like that, because the load's pretty straight down. But catching one of those, either A-arms or the rear lower radius rods, on a rock or a stick, and I've already knocked some powder coat off of them. I mean, just in a couple spots. It's not bad, and they're not dented or anything. But it's just, I've seen them fold many times, and I could see where those would fold. The factory ones would fold very easily.
Well, they're kind of like a beer can. They're strong right up until you put a dent, and then they just fold.
Yeah.
And these are thick enough that, honestly, even if you dented them, I'm not going to say they're not going to lose some structural integrity, but I don't think it's going to be a date ender. I mean, you could probably bend one of these and keep going, knowing that, okay, you can at least get out of the trail and get back to safety.
I don't know how you'd bend one.
Yeah, you'd
really
probably
don't.
Yeah, it'd take some work.
Yeah.
And there'd probably be other bits that would be very mad at you if you bent one of these.
Yeah. So, no, great parts. Big shout out to Spanx Fab. Their information is on our website if you guys want to get a hold of them. And they do more than just like the A-arms and radius rods. They do all kinds of stuff. So definitely check them out.
They do cages. They even do like the full exo cage. I mean, the front, ties into the what's now your new front bumper, and then wraps around and gives you protection in the back. I mean, they do the full exo cage. They do really nice work.
Yeah, they'll build you a ground up race buggy if that's what you're looking for. They'll do everything, soup to nuts, all of it.
Nice. I also want to throw out a shout to our other sponsors. While we have your ear, we're trying to get them in the front part of the episode here. So in case you only make it 50 minutes in, they still get some love. Of course, Watch Communications, who is an internet provider and web hosting provider that hosts our website and the podcast. Still got a deal going for you if you are interested in web hosting for your group. The code Waste of Time, no spaces, will get you 10% off your first month. TGM Off-Road, UTV-doors.com. Speaking of outstanding parts, especially the doors, if you need doors for a lot of the Yamaha products that are out there, he's got doors coming out for the Razors as well.
Yep.
They're not,
He doesn't have them out yet. They're
not
in
out
production.
yet. I've seen pre-production,
Yeah.
some mock-ups, and man, they look fantastic.
Yeah. Looking forward to getting those on mine.
Absolutely. UTV Engineering does some outstanding clutch work and just a absolute wealth of knowledge. I mean, if you have a question about actual engineering aspects of your buggy, man, they're outstanding. Harrison Power Sports up there in Harrison, Michigan, who's been a huge, longtime supporter of the show. CW Motorsports, and of course, Spanx Fab. And you can find all of their information on our website, eminentperformance.com, where you can find us as well. You can also find us on Facebook /Eminent Racing, Instagram @Eminent Racing, and you can find the podcast on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and the video version on YouTube.
There you go. You have found all the ways to make yourself miserable.
We could add more.
No, I think we've given them enough.
I mean, we could start tweeting just random garbage.
So, no.
Isn't that what Twitter's for?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't do that.
Okay, we're not going to start doing. No, I don't think so.
So I told Doug today I ordered some more parts, which I seem to constantly be doing for my Razor.
No.
Yeah. And I ordered a new blow-off valve because the factory ones are known to kind of get hung up once you start putting more power to them. I haven't done it yet, but there's stuff on the way that will be adding powers to them.
A little birdie told me I'm supposed to be picking up something for you at the race this weekend.
That is correct.
Nice.
So, anyway, a box shows up, and I go get the box, and the box looks a little bit beat up, so I was kind of worried about my blow-off valve that was supposed to be in said box. Well, what ended up not being in the box was my blow-off valve, but what was in the box was a whole package of wire cable clamps.
And little tiny ones like you'd use for really, really fine gauge
Like
aircraft
1/8 inch.
cable.
Yeah. So I called the company, and they think someone intercepted the package and stole my blow-off valve and dropped these wire cable clamps
Just
in.
so there'd be some weight in there.
Yep.
Nice.
The company was really great, and they
I maintain that it was a blow-off valve kit.
Oh, and I had to melt it
You
down.
had to melt it all down and forge your own, like that show Forged in Fire.
Yeah.
Here's some cable clamps. I need you to make a functioning blow-off valve. You have 2 hours.
Nice. No, I got a hold of the company, and they were really, really nice about it. I mean, for all they knew, I was trying to scam them, but obviously I wasn't. And they've already got my other one shipped out, and it's supposed to be here Friday, which I won't be here to get it. But
Who'd you get that from?
UTV Everything, I think it was, or Everything UTV.
I just want to give you guys a shout out because honestly, that's top-notch customer service.
It was great. They just said, hey, can you send us a picture of what you actually got? Because at first I thought, like, well, maybe they have like multiple things that they sell, and this is something that they sell, and someone threw the wrong something in my box.
Which happens.
Yeah. And I wasn't mad about it, but I was just like, can we get my right something to me, please? And, she's like, we don't even have those. It's like, oh, okay. And then I was like, do you want these shipped back? She goes, I don't even know what I'd do with them if you sent them back. We just throw them away. So whatever. I got somebody's cable ties, and they're sending me a new blow-off valve. But no, they were great.
Yeah, that's phenomenal customer service right there.
They upped the shipping to get it here a little quicker, and yeah, they got it out the door already, so can't complain about that at all.
Nice.
So,
well, we mentioned there's an MWXC race this weekend. This weekend is Parker's Paradise, which is a really nice property, but it's very small.
What? It's the 100 acres?
It's 100 acres, which I know a lot of you are thinking, I've only got a half acre. That sounds awesome. But take that 100 acres, now carve off about 22 acres of it for parking and vendor setup. That leaves you with 80 or less, 20 to 22 acres of parking. So 80 or less for the actual race. And that gets tight really, really quick, especially when this course originally was, or when I should say this property was originally used. The race series was probably 200 to 300 a weekend.
Yeah.
We're consistently 700 to 800 a weekend now.
And sometimes touching 9.
That's a lot of people to throw down on an 80-acre course.
Now, let's clarify this. When we say, let's just say 800 for a number to pick.
Sure.
That's 800 racers. There are multiple thousands of people.
If we have an 800 racer weekend, that is probably a gate of about 22 to 2,400 people.
Yeah. That's a lot of people to put in that space, and you got kids running around and everything else. It's just a tight property. It is what it is.
No, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But it always makes for some interesting races.
Yes, it does. That's the one last year where we broke an axle. The axle then proceeded to whop around in there until it broke the brakes off of it. Literally broke the caliper off of the machine,
which then tore the remaining brake line that used to be attached to the caliper that used to be there, and bled all the fluid out. So we were about 2/3 of the way up a hill, and we kind of had to stop. I can't even remember why. If there was a buggy in front of us or something,
the guy was broke down,
and you hit the brakes, and you're like, "There are no brakes anymore. There's nothing."
We did another lap and a half though.
Like what we keep talking about how bad the brakes were in the CF Moto. It really didn't change your driving style much, not having any.
I was just like, I'm going to chuck it in the corner and use the throttle to go through. I'm just going to drive it with no brakes. It's fine.
Yeah, that was it was one of those hindsight's 2020 things, because we were ahead of Mike Plank, and we went down in that gully, and that guy was broken down, and Plank, since he was behind us, saw the backup. And he went around the high side, which was completely legal because they started redirecting people around. So he was well within his rights to do that. But when we tried to hop and buck and get out of there, you're full throttle trying to climb a hill, the front end's jumping, and
broken axle.
That was it.
Yeah. That's the one we actually, by finishing, we actually finished second, although a guy cut the course and cut like a mile off of it.
Oh, he cut a ton off. He looked at his lap time and was like, how did you do that?
Yeah. And we weren't going to protest it, whatever. We broke. But we still got third, even with no brakes and like 3-wheel drive, or 2-wheel drive, actually. That other axle wasn't turning.
Go us.
Yeah. It's not bad. I'll take that.
Mercifully, it was dry that weekend, because if it was wet, there was no way.
Oh, no. It was dry.
As soon as there's any water on the track, if you don't have 4-wheel drive, you just pull off where you can.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Yep.
Well, speaking of racing, the Lucas Oil Short Course League was last weekend, and it looks like Kyle Chaney actually had another good week.
Man, he did. I think he got fastest lap also. And
that doesn't surprise me one bit.
Guy can drive. I mean,
yeah,
and he's got great equipment too. But yeah, he won Saturday, and he ended up in second on Sunday. Sunday just turned into a mud fest. Saturday was like everyone was saying, it's beautiful conditions. You know, the track wasn't too wet, too dry. It was just perfect. And then they just got dumped on.
You know, it seems like it's that way a lot of places here in the Midwest this year, where you just can't get a completely good weekend out of it. One day's dry, one day's wet. I mean, Mother Nature's been very bipolar lately.
You guys ought to go look up some pictures of that. And just, there's so many of them out there. There's guys with, 2 to 3 inches of just mud-covered buggies. Just every inch of them is covered. It was one of the worst I've seen, because it was just wet enough to throw mud and just dry enough to stick to everything to where it wouldn't fall off even. Like, even a lot of the guys have metal screen in front of them.
Oh, yeah.
To stop a lot of the roost. That was holding mud.
Oh, man.
It was like that perfect clump.
Yeah, it's like super glue, sticks to everything, and then it turns into cement.
Yeah.
And it's the kind that once it gets stuck all over your buggy, if you don't wash it off, you're driving home.
Yeah.
It's cement. It's really, really hard to get off now.
Yeah. And they're at that racetrack, they had this tabletop that was monstrous, a tabletop jump. It had to be 100 feet, 120 feet long.
Oh, yeah, it was huge.
The side-by-sides, it was basically all they could do to clear it. I posted a video, it will have been about a week and a little bit ago, of one of the trophy trucks running on it. And he got up there and just got wind under his skid plates and just sailed it and just went up and flat.
He landed on his left rear and then just started cartwheeling.
One of the side-by-sides did it last year. I was chatting with a guy who he races, and he did that last year in a YXZ. He said he walked away, but it was a rough one.
He limped away.
Yeah. So
I bet he felt it more the next morning.
Oh, yeah.
That's where you really know.
Yeah, he said he was sore. So, yeah. But neat track. Man, short course stuff really seems to be picking up lately. Maybe I'm just noticing it more, but it seems like it's more... picking up series or doing it more.
I think it's more spectator friendly. We kind of talked about, I don't know, it's probably 4 or 5 episodes ago now, about GNCC kicking everybody out of the woods for side-by-side racing.
Yep.
So now you're very limited where you can watch it from. And the short course stuff, I think, is kind of more interactive with the spectator, where they have more options to watch from. And if you're stuck in one spot on a long course, you may see buggies go by once every 8 or 9 minutes if you're watching, the leader, or maybe depending on the track, it could be even 12 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to follow one specific person, you're just standing there for 10 to 12 minutes waiting for them to come by again.
Yeah.
This way, you've got a lot more opportunity to actually watch the race. And I wonder if that's not part of why it's becoming popular.
Yeah. And, well, like the GNCC thing, I completely understand why they've kicked people out of the woods.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these are 14, 15 or heavier pound cars that are pitching through the woods at 50, 60 mile an hour in some spots.
Well, that last race, Martinsville Mayhem, I ran with Barry Miller.
Yeah.
At one point, this young couple, boy and this girl, were walking along the track and they heard us coming. So they ducked out of the way, but the girl, instead of ducking behind the tree, stands right in front of the tree between, she's between the tree and us at this point.
Yeah.
And we were drifting around a corner trying to straighten it back out. Now, we didn't even come close to hitting her. But if something had happened there and Barry had lost it, she was in between the tree and us.
Well, and it's just all kinds of bad. I mean, people don't think, and we've talked about it before, and I'll admit it, side-by-side racers are probably some of the worst racers ever, because
they are. It's the cage mentality.
If the path isn't big enough in front of us, or we see a faster line, we're making that new path.
Yep.
I mean, right over trees, knock them down with the front bumper, don't care, going through. Yeah. And if someone's behind that brush, it could be bad real quick.
Yeah. So I do kind of wonder if this isn't, maybe some people are picking up on that and saying, hey, if we do these shorter courses, it gives the drivers something different, kind of a different look for them and a different skill in terms of racing. And it also, gives the spectators a little more chance to interact and be really into that race. Yeah. I don't know that that's it, but it makes sense.
Now, for you guys that don't know, short course racing and what I call short course racing and what everybody else refers to it as, it's a lot like motocross.
Yeah.
But the jumps are not radiused. They're a flat jump normally. There's some radius to them, but they're not as much as like a true motocross jump. So think of motocross for side-by-sides is really what it is.
Exactly.
So, no, I would really love to get out to some of those races and at least watch. The buggy setup is 100 times different than like cross-country racing.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole different discipline.
Lower down your suspension, smaller tires. I mean, you're setting up for speed and long flight jumps, and you're not deep rutted or anything normally, so you don't need big tires to get you through creeks and all that. It's on a course. So
let's do it, man. Let's go find one.
I wanted to go to the last one, but they were out in Missouri and just time didn't allow. But yeah, we need to get to some.
Absolutely. Well, we can try and make that happen before the year's out for sure.
Yep. So another style of racing that I've been watching lately, I don't know if you guys have seen it, and Doug, you can tell me if you've seen it, is knockout style racing with the Southern Rock Racing Series.
I have not had the pleasure.
So what they'll do is they don't set up tracks per se. It's up a hill, and basically they make these hills so that each lane, quote unquote, are all the same. And you run up these hills, and there's steps and a few little obstacles, but it's really just a 30-second run is all that they are. And they'll run sometimes 2 wide, sometimes 4 wide.
Okay, I have seen that.
Okay.
A lot of times it's kind of the warm-up event to, like if you're watching the big rock buggies,
yeah,
they'll do it at those events as kind of a warm-up event.
Yeah. Well, the rock buggies are doing it now too.
Yeah.
And the side-by-sides. And I really like it. Sometimes it's single elimination, sometimes double elimination, but it lets, once again, the spectators can see everything. And also, because it's clear and it's, there's no trees in the middle of this course or anything else, the drivers can really just go all out. They're not trying to avoid a tree or these strange rocks that are in the trail or whatever. They're just all out with it. And it really is neat to watch, and I think it'd be neat to run too.
You paid for all that horsepower, might as well use it.
Yeah, that's really what this is. It's a horsepower run. I mean, he with the most power and traction wins.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's probably a little good sense that goes into it too. I mean, if you jump, take an odd jump or something, knowing when to let off for that split second so you don't land under power, blow up an axle.
Right. Well, I'm not saying it's pure just mash your foot.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that either, but I'm just saying there's a little more skill to it than, what might meet the eye, at least if you want to keep a buggy together, because it is knockout.
Yeah.
So you you could win, but potentially break yourself to the point where you're done.
Yep.
So
it can happen.
You got to keep racing. That's got to be in the back of your mind. If I lose, I don't move forward. If I win and break stuff, I don't move forward.
Right. So you have to run that fine line of fast, but not so fast you're destroying parts.
Controlled insanity.
Yes. I'm good at that.
No.
Not the control bit.
You're good at insanity. Control bit is where you suffer.
I'm sorry. But that's another type of racing that I think has really come on strong. I think the last year is the first year they did kind of some exhibition styles of it, and now they're making it a more normal part of their racing series.
And you can find a lot of this stuff on YouTube for free, but I've mentioned in the past that I subscribe to Motor Trend On Demand.
Yeah.
It's like $6 a month. It's really cheap, and it's basically Netflix for motor vehicle related junkie, people.
Yeah.
So it gets you, there's stuff like Roadkill and that kind of stuff on there, but there's actually a lot of like Top Truck Challenge, Diesel Power Challenge. They've got rock buggy racing on there, and they do have some of this kind of stuff as well. So there's a little bit of everything on Motor Trend On Demand. So if you're kind of looking for a one-stop shop where you can check out different types of racing and different stuff that's out there, it's really not a bad deal.
And Lucas Oil does have the same kind of thing. I know they have an app for it, and you can cast it to your TV if you have that technology. But I think you can log on to your computer and watch it there too. But it's a paid for. I think it's $100 for the year, so it's roughly around the same price. But they have all kinds of both grassroots racing, GNCC. They have some of that in there. They have this Lucas Oil short course stuff, all kinds of racing. So I have not subscribed to that, but that is one of the few things that I'm like, I really am debating that one because it has side-by-side racing, like the Pro 4 buggies, the trophy trucks, the light buggies, everything. Just
the name is escaping me, but what's the racing they're doing now where it's trophy trucks, but they're on tarmac and there's jumps? Basically, it's like an F1 course with jumps.
What is that? That is...
The name's completely escaping me right now.
Robbie Gordon does it, too.
I think I've given you enough description if you go to Google and look for that.
It's not trophy truck.
Yeah, I absolutely can't
remember
but
what
man,
it is.
it's entertaining as heck to watch because these things they're set up for suspension travel.
Yeah.
And so they're going around, these corners on these relatively tight F1 style tracks. And man, they're running these corners on 3 wheels with the 4th wheel like 1.5 feet in the air as these things are twisting. And
they got big steel jump ramps set up, and they're jumping these things a long way.
Oh, yes, they are.
They are hitting them full bore while running on pavement to gain all the speed and everything. So
that's a hoot to watch.
Yeah. Stadium truck.
Is that what they're okay?
Yeah, they call it stadium truck.
Yeah, that if you haven't seen it, again, YouTube's your friend. Go look it up. That is an absolute riot.
So yeah,
there's so many different types of racing. If you can't find something you like, you just don't like racing.
Yeah, there's a stadium truck race up in Detroit that I'd like to go see. I don't remember when it is.
I'm game.
Yeah, it looks amazing. So
deal. We got a full. Every time we have a free minute, we find something.
Something to fill it. Yeah.
Speaking of something to fill it, you had an interesting idea about razors and parachutes the other day.
If anybody has a parachute, get hold of me.
Can we borrow it?
Use it.
We'll make an interesting video with it, I promise.
So I think it went something like this. Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, but I sent Doug a message that said, I wonder if anybody's ever tried to parasail behind a razor.
I think it started out with, hey, do you happen to have a parachute? I was like, no, why?
That's
why.
I want to try it. I really think I could make it work. I don't know if it's smart, but...
My only thought is if you do it over water and something goes wrong, you're over water. If you
do it over land. Don't mess up. That's all I got. Don't mess up.
A big grassy field might not be horrible, but if you're on a road or a wooded area and things go awry and you start drifting towards the wood. Well, yeah. But let's say you're not in the wooded area, but all of a sudden something breaks and now you're headed towards a wooded area.
Don't break stuff.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
I think you just need a wide open area and you're probably fine. And you've got a parachute. So unless something really hinky happens, you're going to want to have a quick release where you can detach if something goes really terribly wrong. But it sounds interesting.
I'd so do it. I am not even kidding.
I know you would. All I ask is that you update your life insurance and make me a beneficiary first.
I told Doug, I said, well, I think I'd mount a winch to the roll cage so I could kind of reel myself out and reel myself back in with like a wireless remote.
It'll be something.
And go. And I'm reeling myself out.
It'd be interesting. That's for sure.
Awesome. I mean, it would be awesome.
It'd be interesting. That's for sure. The sad thing is, I would do it too. I mean, I'm giving you crap, but I'll be right there going, okay, that looked fun.
Yeah, let me do it now. I told Doug, okay, you drive first and I'll test it. Just don't drag me into any power lines.
Oh, my word. Yeah, funny visual pictures in my head. It wouldn't be funny when it happened, but in like the cartoony version in my head, it is pretty funny.
You've seen my skeleton through the skin and all that. Yeah.
Kind of like National Lampoon style. Yes, exactly.
Awesome. No, I really wouldn't mind trying that. I think it'd be fun.
It would be something. I'm gonna stick with that. We'll make sure we get video if we do that.
Yeah.
And if you have a parachute.
Yeah, seriously, get a hold of me. I want to borrow it.
You don't have to like have your name associated if something does go horribly wrong. You know,
no.
we won't out you unless you want to be.
Yeah. And I know nothing about parachutes. I've never been skydiving, although I want to do that too. I know nothing about parachutes, but I like fully am trusting that I can figure this out.
I know. I know one thing about parachutes. Don't let your wife pack yours.
Yeah. Good point.
That's about all I know, because I've never been skydiving either. Although I have to admit, that's a bucket list activity for me. I really want to do it.
Yep. We should do that then. I'm all for skydiving.
Yeah. We've got podcasts for decades. I was so worried we were going to run out of material. That is not going to be an issue, evidently.
We have not. We will not. Ever.
You've got one interesting question here on the list of discussion-y bits that I want to get to. UTV audio, is it worth it?
Yes.
On the surface, that question looks pretty easy. Like, yes, of course it's worth it. I want music while I'm out trail riding.
And I agree. I agree with that statement.
However, $600, $700, $800 for a soundbar?
Oh, yeah.
That's a cheap one.
That's a cheap one. $1,000, $1,200 for a soundbar. It's insane.
Really, I guess it kind of comes down to it's because they're designed to fit in one, because the individual components that are in these things, not expensive.
No. I saw some guy advertise, and I don't remember who it was, and I have no affiliation with the company or anything else, but they said, oh, we're running a special, and it was 2 speaker pods that, like Wake Tower board-looking speaker pods. There's, 6.5 inch around or something. They had an LED light in them, so 2 speakers, an amp, and a little, like, RF wireless controller to control the LED inside.
Sure.
And a Bluetooth receiver. Take a wild stab at what their sale price was.
$12.99.
No, their sale price was $900 on that.
Okay, so it was not as expensive. I was just shooting high.
Yeah.
But still, that's a lot of money.
That's insane considering you can buy all those individual components, and the brands were nothing. It wasn't like JL or JBL or MB Quartz or anything like that. It was some off-brand. It's like I could buy all those individual parts for like $300 on Amazon or anywhere else.
That.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I mean, a set of 6.5 inch Kenwood speakers, like coaxial, decent ones, $60.
Yeah.
You know, any kind of, let's just say a Pioneer Bluetooth stereo, single DIN, kind of just.
This wasn't even a stereo. It's just a receiver to go to the amp. That's all.
That's it?
That's it.
Well, you could buy, those little Lepi digital amps?
Yep.
They're 20 watts a channel. They run on 12 volt, and they now have them with built-in Bluetooth and FM radio.
Yeah.
They're like $20 on Amazon.
Yeah. You might need a little bit more power than that, but I mean, I'm sure they got bigger ones.
Yeah, they do. I think they got a 40 or 50 watter.
Yeah, and that's basically, I mean, for you guys that don't know about stereos and amps and stuff like that, they may advertise that it's a 400 watt. It's not putting out 400 watts.
No.
That's like 400 watts bridge to mono at 1 ohm.
For a split second.
Yeah, at like peak. And most of the time, it's probably operating closer in the 200. The general rule of thumb is if an amp says it's 400, it's normal operating. By the time it's split to different speakers and everything is around 200.
Yeah. And if it's Chinese, 100.
Yeah. So what they're advertising as 400 watts isn't 400 watts. It's a 200 watt amp is what you're pushing. So whatever. It was just one of those things that struck me the other day, and I was like...
When you were grumpy?
When I was grumpy, yes.
Okay.
But, man, the prices are just nuts. And the sad thing is people pay it. I mean, I guess that's why they sell them. People pay it.
It's the convenience factor. I mean, yes, the individual components are not that expensive. However, they have packaged them in such a way that you can buy this thing, and with a couple screws and a couple, 12-volt connectors, maybe some wire, you're done. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do any engineering. It's something you can tell your wife, hey, I really want that for Christmas. And if she owes you a $900 present for some reason because you've been really good that year, then it's a done deal.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. People pay it, so they're going to charge it. But I just don't understand it to the point that when you look at the component price, it's like 1/10 of what they're charging.
It's the beauty of a free market, my friend.
It is. And I'm not faulting the companies or anything else. Just, I find it crazy.
Well, again, I've said this many times before on this podcast. UTVs themselves are just disposable money pits because you don't need a UTV. There's no one on this planet that really legitimately has to have one.
What else am I going to use to jump things?
Dirt bike, a quad, a mountain bike.
What if I want to take someone else with me to jump things?
Dirt bike, quad.
Those are not
mountain
built for two
bike.
people, sir.
When does something being built for a specific purpose ever stopped you from using it from something completely different?
Good point.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
I mean, there are farmers that would argue with me, but I'm not talking, like a Kawasaki Mule. I'm talking a pure sport UTV.
Yeah.
So it's already a disposable money pit. They're a ton of fun, and I'm not faulting anybody for having one. I'm looking into getting one myself. However, because of that, I think there's like a mental disconnect. I would never put something this expensive relative to what it is in my daily driver car or something that was more utilitarian. I had to have it. But since it's kind of I don't know, there just seems to be a mental disconnect with people when they are spending money on something that I've already spent all this money on something I don't have to have. I want this piece. I don't care. I'm just getting it.
Yeah. I understand that, but whatever.
You're not doing it? Is that
I
what
have
you're
a
telling
real
me?
hard time with that.
I'll tell you what, I'll mock something up for you and I'll only charge you $500.
Thank you.
That's the kind of friend I am.
Yeah, I can tell. Thanks.
All right, you got some trivia for me?
Yes, we're to that time. I figured I would let you rein it in this time since I have the last two times.
Yeah, you've been all ever since I've actually started using an actual countdown timer here. I've been getting all jumpy with that stuff.
Have I?
I have to add some value to the show here. That's all I've got is keeping you on track. If you're doing that yourself, you might as well just do the whole thing yourself.
Okay, fine. I'll go off the rails slightly more often.
Oh, God.
You didn't think it was possible, but it is.
But it is.
Okay. Are you ready for your trivia, sir?
I just thought of something else you could jump. The mini chopper.
Gosh, that thing is terrifying.
That thing is so scary. The last podcast, you heard about the mini chopper.
Circling my house.
I got a chance to ride that the other day. It is legitimately the scariest thing I've been on in quite some time.
It's like a one-way ticket to death, and
It is. It's the perfect combination of absolutely no power whatsoever, terrible handling, and zero suspension travel.
yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it is begging you to die.
We got off topic quick from the trivia,
Yeah,
but
we
that's
did.
okay.
That was worth it.
Yeah. Okay, so Fuzzy submitted questions.
Thanks, Fuzzy.
He actually sent them last week, but it was not in time. We had already done the podcast.
Ah, gotcha.
So they made it on this week's.
Maybe they've aged like a fine wine
Or they've become stinky like old socks.
or whiskey salsa.
Whiskey salsa. Yeah. So the first two are from him. You can imagine that they're space.
Okay.
Space germs. Referencing last week's.
That'll live on forever.
Yep. Okay, question number 1. What do cosmonauts do as a tradition to the van that delivers them to the launch pad?
Drink vodka.
No, sir. And that is very racist. But it's no.
Accurate.
Could
I
be.
believe accurate's the word you're looking for.
So what they do as a tradition is they pee on the right rear tire. Don't ask me why. I have no idea.
No, I'm going to flat out ask you why. Okay, I'll look it up because I know you don't know, but
Ask Fuzzy. I don't know.
how come you don't know? Didn't that trigger something in you that made you want to look that up?
No, I just had mental pictures of them all like, do they all pee on it at the same time? Do they line up and pee individually?
Well, if they had just drunk a bunch of vodka not too long ago, then that's why they had to pee.
Could be. Why the right rear? Yeah, find out. Bring us that answer.
I'll bring you some trivia back on that one.
Okay. Question number 2, also from Fuzzy. How many times did the Mir space station catch on fire?
The Mir Station, brought to you by Polaris. I think it was twice. I'm going to go with twice.
Incorrect. It was only once. Fuzzy thought it was twice at first too, but he said no, it's only one.
It was so bad it just made you think of it twice.
Yes.
I do remember the big main fire, but I thought there was another more minor one. But yeah, that's terrifying though. There's not a lot of volume of air.
Yeah, and it's eating it
very quickly.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to go. It's not like you can just open the door and run outside.
No.
Yeah, that honestly, that would probably be one of the most terrifying things you could imagine.
Yeah, I would think you're probably right. Fire in space.
It's okay. It doesn't exist anymore, so problem solved.
Yay. Okay. Question number 3. The Star Trek sound effect, which you're a Star Trek fan.
Yes, I am.
So the Star Trek sound effect for the automatic doors is actually a sound of what? You know the sound that it makes? I can't make the sound. It's kind of a swooshy noise.
Yeah, man, I've heard this before, but I honestly can't remember.
No guess?
Nope.
Okay. It is the sound of a Russian train's toilet flushing.
A lot of good Russian trivia today.
Brought to you by our friends at utv-doors.com. Oh, yes, it is.
I'd heard something along those lines before. It sounds familiar now that you mentioned it, and I knew I'd heard it. I just couldn't remember what it was. That's really outlandish.
One would wonder where I get all this trivia. The internet is full of marvelous things.
I have learned to never question your internet browsing history or follow in your footsteps.
Just don't go there. It's safer, kids. All right, moving on. Question number 4.
Before you do that,
okay.
I saw a poll one time on Facebook that totally reminded me of you. Would you rather A, live near an active volcano, or B, show your browsing history to everyone you know?
Can I do both? Doesn't bother me. People want to go look where I've been on the internet. I got no problem with that. But
that's true. You have no shame.
Yeah.
Okay, carry on.
Question number 4. Clouds have weight.
Yes, they do.
How much does the average cumulus cloud weigh?
Really?
Yep.
Well, they're big and water's dense, but it's really spread out. 1,200 pounds.
1 million pounds.
I have no idea, dude.
The average cumulus
It weighs
cloud.
1 million pounds?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it floats. It's 1 million floating pounds over our head right now.
If I chopped you up into tiny pieces and equally distributed you, you would float as well.
Yay.
Things for future podcasts.
Yeah. All I could think of was it.
Yeah, I guess the cumulus are the big ones. Like, I don't know why I was thinking like the smaller,
Cirrus.
like more. Yeah. Wow, that's a lot though.
1 million pounds of stuff over our head. That's scary. I need a hard hat.
Why aren't we dead yet?
It's not safe outside.
The sky is literally falling.
Okay, question number 5. What is Hershey's most popular product?
So it's not chocolate?
Well, I mean, they make more than just like the Hershey's bar. You know, the Hershey company that, you know, makes the chocolate bar. What's their most? And the Hershey's Kisses and,
yeah,
you know, all the stuff that
they make all the other stuff.
There's not some big trickery here. It's a candy product. I'm going to
say it's actually just the Hershey bar.
No, actually, you're wrong. It's the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Oh, that is a Hershey product. Yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking the Hershey bar itself. I mean, you don't see a lot of people just eating them per se, but man, s'mores.
Yeah, or I would have guessed the Reese's Pieces because you see those, or not the Reese's Pieces, the Hershey's Kisses.
People hate those. Yeah,
because they're everywhere, like around the holidays and everything.
Or you just walk into an office building, there's a little thing. But that was going to be my second guess.
Yeah.
But
no, peanut butter cups.
I can totally
Those
see
are
that
my
because those things are
favorite.
phenomenal.
Oh, it's
Have you seen the giant king cups they make now?
I have not eaten one, but they look amazing.
Do that for your birthday. Just put a little candle in it.
Okay. Question number 6. How many years did Prohibition last in the United States? Prohibition when alcohol was illegal, among other things, but alcohol being the main thing that everyone pitched a fit about.
Well, it was during the better part of the Great Depression. It took hold. I don't know exactly, so I'm going to ballpark it 16 years?
13 years.
13 years.
Close. I was going to say if you get it 1 year, either side of it, I'll give it to you, which you still didn't. But
no. I was a little long, but I knew it was in that vicinity.
I was even going to give you some grace there on it. So, but you didn't get
Blew
it.
Anyways, too bad. I was drunk.
Haha, because Prohibition's over. Okay, question number 7. What year did Pinocchio first appear in published media? So the story has been around for much, much longer.
Sure.
The story of Pinocchio, but it's been all just told. So when was it actually in published media?
1947.
1883.
Oh, okay.
So
it's got some legs.
Yeah. Wooden ones.
Yeah. No, he's a real boy.
I'm a real boy.
So back then, I'm assuming it was a book.
Yes, it was. No, it was on the iPads.
I don't know. Maybe somebody painted a canvas portrait. I don't know.
No, it was books.
Okay.
Pinocchio books. Okay, question number 8. In which movie does Clint Eastwood utter the line, "Go ahead and make my day"?
It's Dirty Harry, wasn't it?
No, it is Sudden Impact.
Oh, really?
Yes. Most people do assume it's Dirty Harry, but it is not.
I'm not a huge Clint Eastwood guy.
I'm not either. I mean, I don't hate his
think-
movies, but I'm not a massive follower.
Dirty Harry's Do You Feel Lucky Punk?
Yeah.
That's okay. And honestly, those two quotes get like intermingled all the time.
And actually, the "Do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do you?" is one of the most misquoted movie lines ever, because that's not actually what he says. Because those two aren't together.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the actual line he says is.
He says something like, "You're going to be asking yourself, do you feel lucky? Or
Yeah.
do I feel lucky?" And then he says, "Well, do you, punk?" Or something like
he
that.
says, "Did he shoot 6 or did he shoot 5 or whatever?"
Yeah.
There's like a whole monologue in between there that no one ever quotes, and they actually just smash it all together into that one saying that he didn't actually say like that.
Oh, yeah. It's a totally misquoted line. I can't even quote it accurate. Kind of like, "Luke, I am your father."
Yeah.
That's not what he says.
No, not at all. Do you know what he says?
No, I
at all.
am your father.
Yes. Okay, where are we? Question number 9. The computer virus, the I Love You virus. Do you remember that one?
That's going back a ways, but yes.
Yes. What year did the I Love You virus begin infecting computers worldwide?
Again, don't really know. 2000, no. 1997.
2000. The
Was
year
it
2000.
Dang it.
You were so close. So close. It's so far away.
I was like, was that what was making me think that was I was trying to remember there was a virus that was a big deal. And it was that one.
Yeah.
Right after 1999 rolled to 2000 when everyone thought the world was going to end and power wasn't going to work. And you remember the
Yeah.
the 2-digit to 4-digit expansion?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I remember Y2K.
Yeah. So I was trying to remember if that was the Y2K, like there was the Y2K bug that everyone referred to, which was that, but I was trying to remember if that was the virus or not. So
Yeah.
then I decided to go early and screwed myself.
Yep.
Yay.
Okay. Question number 10. Last one. Approximately how many times larger than Rhode Island is Texas?
Rhode Island is
Small.
small.
Texas is not.
6 times.
Everything's bigger in Texas, even the stories.
I'm trying to do like a comparison in my head. It's probably about 30 times. Well, let's say 48 times.
257 times.
Wow, Rhode Island's smaller than I thought.
Very small. Texas, very big.
Well, it's funny because if you look at a map, all the original colonies were just, little tiny, like European-sized colonies. Why would you need more land than this? And then as we kept acquiring land, they're like, crap, we got to make this stuff bigger. We're going to have 800 states.
Yeah.
Montana, wham, Wyoming, boom, Texas. Ah.
No one wants most of that ground anyway. There's jackrabbits and...
Well, that was part of it, too, was a lot of it's fairly uninhabitable.
Yeah, or was now. I mean, with modern technology and irrigation.
It still is.
Yeah, but I mean, it's become more with irrigation and the way that they've done
it's closer.
things. Yeah.
But there are more people in Indiana than Montana, Wyoming, and both Dakotas combined.
Well, yeah. It's cold up there.
Indiana is not particularly large.
No.
So,
Yep.
there you go. I did terrible.
Yeah. Not bad.
In the ballpark on some. I didn't get one right, but it was one of those weeks.
Could have been worse.
That was a nice mix though.
I tried to throw an even mix.
You did. Stuff I would never have actually wondered about, like how much clouds weigh, but now I know.
Yeah.
A lot.
They're going to fall on us and kill us. Maybe.
Okay, well, I think we can put a cork in this whole mess.
You think so?
Yeah.
Good with that.
So we'll see what happens over our vacations, and if there's UTV related bits, maybe we'll get some sort of podcast on the way back. And if by some freak chance we both have internet, maybe we'll even try a Skype-y type of thing.
I know I will. I can tell you that. So.
Oh, yeah. You'll probably have to pay $40 a day for it, but it's a resort. They don't give you anything for free at a resort. That's the trick.
Yeah, well.
You ever notice the more expensive the hotel, the more they charge you for Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Like it's not expensive enough already?
Yeah, well.
So I don't know. I'm guessing I will have no access to anything that resembles reliable internet connection, which is kind of why I go camping. Get away from that crap for a while.
Yep.
So we'll see how that all rolls. I don't know. Do you want to do a quick stupid thing to wrap this up? Do you have any quick stupid stories? Or are all your stupid stories long?
Well, there's one that I even labeled quick one.
Okay, let's do a quick one.
So,
oh God, I didn't even see it until you. It just says staple in the butt.
How's that for a title?
We should have disclosed it when I first said it. But now you get this.
So this also goes back to when we were building my dad's house over there.
I feel like that's going to be a gold mine of stories.
Oh, it is. I'm sure I could keep coming up with them from there. That there's plenty going around. Basically, you had like 3 generations of shoemakers all working on one project, and you can only imagine how
hijinks ensue.
Oh yeah. So I'm putting up. I'm working on the second floor, and I'm putting up insulation, like bad insulation, and I'm stapling it to the wall. And once again, this involves my brother, which most of my stories seem to include him. So I'm like, okay, hand me this, hand me that. He's younger, he's just kind of helping. And he gets bored because I was doing the work, and he's just kind of standing around until I ask him to hand me something. Picks up a swing stapler, staples me right in the butt with it. Just swings it hard enough to bury the staple in my rear. Twice.
Okay, how did you let him do that a second time?
Because I had gone back to working after I'd pulled the first staple out of my butt. And he hit me with it again. I took his stapler away then. I almost beat him to death with it.
I'm surprised there wasn't more retribution, because you were a lot less calm back then than you are now.
I nearly beat him to death with that stapler.
There's no retribution here? I got him back?
Oh, I got him back in other ways later, but it was not at that exact moment.
That's a story for another podcast.
Yes, it is. So, yeah, I got staples buried in my rear, and I did pull them out. They're not still there.
That was going to be my next question, is how long do you have to leave a staple in your butt before it rests?
I didn't leave it because my jeans were stapled to my butt at the time. It went right through the jean pocket and all that. Oh, he swung it hard. It was not like, oh, tap, ooh. It was like, bow.
You weren't sitting down eating dinner that night, were you?
Nope. I think I stood up the rest of the night.
Yeah, I think we really should be done now.
Yep, we're done.
All right, everybody, we'll be back with you in a week or so after we've had some vacation time to maybe think of a better way to do a podcast.
It won't help.
And no matter whose butt you've stapled, thanks for riding along with us.
Thanks, guys.
Tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.